Be Better, episode 43. Here, a little solo in the studio tonight, this afternoon rather. Jacob is out of town this weekend, so I just wanted to hop on here, give you guys just some stuff that's been on my mind the past couple days. Hopefully helps you guys out. This is going to be more of a parent kind of segment, so if you don't have kids, well, maybe you'll learn from it and have kids one day, but just been, having a lot of thoughts about kids and family and, relationships with my father and my kids with their father and myself. And so just want to put some stuff out there. But before I get too far ahead, we are sponsored always by subzeroplunge.com. Code Be Better gets you $500 off at checkout. Also, you can DM me, DM Be Better, for a custom shipped price quote to your house, inflatable or acrylic tubs, and soon to be saunas this year. My brother owns the company, operates the company. He's a one-man show, does not have any partners anymore. He's doing everything himself. So it's going to, directly support him, his little startup shop in Austin. I think he's going to be doing brick and mortar here soon, so people can feel the experience of the cold plunge before buying one. So if you're in Austin, look forward to that. Yeah, just been having to deal with some personal stuff lately with some family members, and close family member of mine died. So I've been having to bear responsibility. I've talked about that in the past of having more responsibilities better. More responsibility of yourself, able to take care of your family, able to take care of your community, your state, the people around you, your people at the workplace. So I've always said more responsibility, I think, is better. And I've always kind of led by example in that regard. But yeah, it's just, it's tough when people pass. It's tough on everybody. It's, a lot of people look for answers. And a lot of people want to fill the air with words in these moments. And remember I was talking to somebody at this house I was at where this person passed away. And I just looked at him like, no one's going to remember what you said today. No one's going to remember if you said something funny to ease attention, if you said something sweet to remember somebody by. No one's going to ever remember the words that were spoken on a day like this. But people remember the people who showed up. And the man who passed away taught me that a lot, about just showing up, being present, even if it's just, driving an hour to show up for a half hour and driving home for an hour. Showing up, being present. It was always super important to him, so it's always been super important to me because I picked it up at a young age that he was always around. And he, played an active role in my life. As I grew up, he became less of an uncle, more of a brother. So that was pretty hard. But now, it's more responsibility that I've taken on to help his family out in their time of need, because a lot of times we've been through this personally in my family. Years ago was, we had another close family member die, and people come the day, the week, maybe 2 weeks after, and then the food stops coming. You threw all the extra food away that showed up. People forget. Within a week, the phone calls stop. Within a month, the visits stop. Within 6 months, no one's really even saying that person's name anymore, except for the people in the family, obviously. But so, I've kind of vowed that responsibility. I didn't really like how that all played out, and when it happened to us, and I, told my uncle that, I'm not going to forget. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep bothering if that's what I'm doing at the time. Keep figuring shit out. Keep bearing more responsibility that he has asked me to take care of. So I think that responsibility is good. I think if you're in a situation where you feel the weight, and there was a moment last week where I had a long talk with Dan Bell about this, of feeling the weight that's on your shoulders. A lot of us carry it, especially as parents, right? We don't want to mess up our kids. Maybe we're half messed up ourselves. We don't want to put that onto them. And sometimes you just start to feel it. And I never really felt the weight that I've known I've had on my shoulders for a while, with everything else I have going on in life. And for the first time, I finally have felt like, you know, felt like weight, felt like somebody was standing on my shoulders, standing on my neck. Um, and I kept kind of thinking, like, why me? Why am I in this situation? Am I equipped to help at all? Like, I have enough going on, and you know, what I say or what I do might not help anybody, might not move the needle. So why me? And then after talking to Dan for a while, which he's going through some big changes himself right now, so I'm hoping to get him on the Be Better podcast to discuss that. Um, it became, why not me? Why wouldn't people look to me? Why wouldn't I be the one to bear a responsibility? Why wouldn't I feel the weight? Because if you're feeling the weight, that means you're doing something. So once I turn that kind of mentality around of why me into why not me, things got really easy. Not really easy. I should take that back. Things got easier. Um, it was less pressure and more of, you kind of just get into the mode of a get shit done mode. It's like you got a million things to do around your house. Instead of talking about it and thinking about it, right? That's where people create anxiety. You just do it. And I'm kind of in that mode now of, this is get shit done mode. Clean up what I have to clean up. Take care of what I take care of. Stay up later if I don't have the time to get things done before my, quote unquote bedtime. Is just get shit done mode. And I think we kind of all go into that, but bearing that weight means you're doing something. So if you're in a similar situation comes up, has come up in the past, and you kind of just feel it, like, then you're in the right spot. As weird as that is to say, and as weirder it is to feel, because then people look up to you, and you're that someone, that one motherfucker that can protect, provide, bear responsibility for others. So you should take that and run with it forever. Add to it. Don't stop. Don't take the one thing and just roll with it for a little bit. And it needs to compound. The more you're in these situations, the better you're able to handle more situations. Like I said, years ago, we had another close family member die, and now I'm more equipped now to handle this kind of stuff. It's all different. This one was probably the closest one I've yet to lose, but I wouldn't say I was ready for it, but I'm more equipped than others were. And there's something to be said for that. So bearing all that responsibility, eventually, in time, a lot of time, really, really starts to pay off. And it's, I've always kind of wanted to be that person for other people to help them out. Do you got a guy for this? Yeah, I got a guy for that. Do you need a painter? Yeah, I got a great painter. Let me make some phone calls. Like, you need something done to your house. You need something done with your car. Oh, you need a tax guy. Yeah, I got a guy. But like, I've always been that guy to like connect people, right? So yeah, why not me, right? So sidetrack off that. That's just been something going on personally. I think it feels good to get some stuff off our chest personally. It helps with vulnerability, right? Some people don't want to talk about stuff. I was that way for a long time. I just keep it to myself. I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't tell people at work. Definitely not people at work. I wouldn't tell my wife. I wouldn't tell my friends. Wouldn't tell them anything. I just kind of dealt with the demons inside and figured my own shit out and bottled it up, if you will. And it's not always the healthiest way. Sometimes it's maybe your least path of resistance, right? Because you don't have to be vulnerable. You don't have to share emotions. You just have to sit there with it and let it stew inside you, it's hard to deal with, but there's no resistance from others. There's no fear of embarrassment or breaking down in front of somebody you don't want to break down in front of. And that was me for a really long time. Now that I have my awesome wife and Haley, they're, more of my rock now than anything. And I never really thought it would be like that because I've always been so hushed or just kept it, dealt it with side like a man, right? That's what, we're kind of taught to do. I was taught to do kind of growing up. You just push that shit down. You deal with it yourself. figure it out. And there is some, grit that becomes built with that. And I think that's an important tool to have in your tool bag, that responsibility, that grit, able to handle shit in stressful, shitty situations, because not everybody can be fucking freaking out. You can't have a fire and everybody screaming bloody murder, right? Somebody's got to step up and help. Somebody's got to figure things out. Like the Jordan Peterson quote is, you should aim to be the strongest person at your father's funeral. To me, once I heard that from him, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. He says a lot of stuff that goes over my head. That made sense. Okay, 10-4, let's do it. And bearing responsibilities, I think, the way to do that. Because not everybody at the funeral can be crying. Not everybody meeting at a house after somebody died. Not everybody can just be a mess. Somebody has to start picking up pieces. Somebody has to move the needle forward. Because unfortunately, life doesn't stop, right? Or fortunately, it doesn't stop when someone dies. It's keeps going, and you have to keep going with it. People get stuck in these terrible bouts of depression and anxiety and freaking out and don't know how to handle anything because a family member died, and they get stuck that way for years. I've seen it. It's very sad. It's very hard to get someone out of that if they don't want to get themselves out of it. But you just got to keep pushing that needle forward, as I found is the best medicine in all the shitty low times that we go through. But you don't want to have that victim mentality either. That the woe is me is perfectly normal. As as soon as it happens, the event happens, if someone dies, but after that, you have to pick up the pieces and keep moving forward. No one can stand I can't stand a victim. That victim mentality. Everything sucks. Nothing works out for me. Everybody hates me. Everybody's looking at me. Everybody looks down. Like, get out of here with that. I can't even be around those people. At first, the first thing of the trauma, the accident, whatever happened, absolutely, sure. Years later, you got to keep throwing the ball. You got to keep kicking it down the hill. We can't stand here and sit here forever. You got to keep moving forward, keep doing things, keep adding responsibility. Yeah, so thinking about all the family stuff's got me, kind of thinking about the kids, my kids rather, being a better example, being more present. And sometimes you think it's going to be like a switch, right? I made a change a long time ago. Is just I'm not going to yell at my kids anymore. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to raise my voice. I don't want them to ever be scared of me, because they've said that in the past. When I raise my voice, it scares them. And my excuse was always, well, life's scary. Toughen up. But you're teaching them to duck and cower and hide just to please another person, and that takes a toll on somebody. So I told them, I sat them all down one day and I said, I'm not going to yell anymore. Will I yell if you're going to run into the traffic? Yeah, I'm going to scream. You'll never hear anybody yell louder than me. But if we're in the house and you're crying and freaking out, I'm not going to start yelling as well, because then we're both just screaming. That's a daily challenge, right? It's not a switch where I can go, yeah, girls, I'm not going to yell anymore. All right, good night. I love you. Because the next day, I'm pretty sure I wanted to yell at them. It happens quite often, especially with three of them so close in age. It's very hard to very rarely are they all just getting along and it's rainbows and unicorns. I mean, it's a lot of rainbows and unicorns in my basement because it's all girls, but it's very rarely all the moods are all rainbows and unicorns, right? It's girls, and they're 5 and 6 and they're pulling each other's hair and somebody pushed me and there's always a fight. It's like usually 15, maybe 30 minutes of they can play, and then it's those days it's done. But me yelling, it scares them. They don't like it. I'm the only guy in the house, right? I mean, both my dogs are girls. Literally, there's no males in this house besides myself. So to have one male just running around yelling at everybody, especially because typically I'm really busy with work and around probably half as much as I am now. Then you're the dad that comes home, sees him 3-4 days a week and just yells at him. And that's not real fun for the kid either. So taking a step back from that, a calmer approach is harder. and I find myself getting super frustrated with them, especially because they don't listen because they're young. But them having a temper tantrum and then me having a temper tantrum isn't really the adult way to fix it. Um, because you guys got to remember, like if you have sons, your sons want to be you to an extent. They should want to be greater than you. You should hope that your son or daughter, but just starting off with sons, will surpass you in every single way, right? And with daughters, you want the same thing, right? You want them to be better than you, but they're also going to marry someone like you. So if they're used to a guy screaming and them ducking their heads and them being scared, then that's what they're going to marry. And I'm pretty sure, like you guys, especially ones with daughters, you don't want your girls marrying a guy that screams at them all the time or makes them feel scared in their own house. So you really got to these moments when they're younger, might not seem super important, but things get molded from such a young age, and we don't really think about it because parents sometimes are just trying to survive. They're trying to get through that day, get through the week, get through that vacation, right? It's very hard for us to slow down because it's dance tonight and then tomorrow's this and then Saturday's a parade and then a walk and then a birthday and then it's just like you're just getting to the next thing. So hurry up, get your shoes on, stop talking, get in the car. And you don't realize you start screaming at them and then it's fights. And then when they get upset, guess how long it takes to put their shoes on? It takes a really long time to get your shoes on. And I don't know why it's always that. It's always the shoes on out the door, right? And I've tried, hurry up, get your shoes on, get in the car. And it takes them 10 minutes. And then it's, hey, in 5 minutes, we have to put our shoes on. And then in 3 minutes, we have to put our shoes on. Girls, 1 minute. And it doesn't matter. Still takes 10 minutes. So if you guys have any parenting hacks with that, I would love to hear it because everything I try still can't get their shoes on very fast. It's how they don't know put their shoes on. They just don't go over there to put them on. They get distracted. I forgot a snack. It's funny, kind of funny now, but not too funny when we're trying to get out the door because I'm not too good at being late at stuff. I don't like it. I think being late is extremely rude. So I like to be very punctual if I can. It's very hard to do with 3 little ones putting on 6 shoes. They always end up on the wrong foot, which is kind of funny. But yeah, you got to remember that your daughters are going to marry the man they know the most, right? So they know the actions of me. They look for that in another man. They better be good ones. So you got to be setting very good examples. And literally, it's a daily battle to remember these things and beat it into my head and, listen to some good podcasts about being a better dad and how to handle different like real life situations. And it's just good things to remember. Because it's big picture here. It's not just today when you yelled at them. It's the 50 times, 100 times you did it in a year. And then that's just how guys are. And then, yep, that's just how my boyfriend treats me. And then it's kind of shitty. That's why, my wife brought up something that I never really thought about. My wife's real good with this stuff. I'd really like to get her on the podcast, but she's a little camera shy and podcast shy. But like when you take kids to meet their grandparents, not meet their grandparents, go see their grandparents or see their family, and they're always like, "Oh, give them a hug." Nope, you have to kiss grandpa. You have to kiss grandma. Go, and you're literally almost like shoving them to go. You have to do this. They saw you, or they gave you a present. Now you have to do this. So my wife got us away from that, like almost probably before it even happened. From the early as I can remember, it's the this for that mentality, right? I gave you this, so now you give me this, right? And when you do that with relationships, she pointed this out, you're setting up a really, really bad example of how relationships work because it's going to be in 10 years for me, they're going to be 16, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And they're going to be in the back, in a car with another boy. Hey, I gave you this. I took you to dinner. I gave you flowers. I bought the movie. Now you do this. Yep, that's how this works because I was taught as soon as I get this gift, I have to hug my grandparents. I have to go give them a kiss on the cheek. I have to do this because it's this for that. So when we meet grandparents or go see grandparents rather, the only ones really, my one grandma is like on my side, but she has both sets of grandparents on her side. So when we go see them and they're a lot closer, they don't really understand that mentality. But we don't push anything. They're very old school, like, oh, come give grandma a kiss. And I'm like, no, they don't have to do that because you gave them a gift. That's not how we're raising our children. It's probably foreign to them and it's offensive, but I'm more of a bigger picture, and I used to be real old school in a lot of things too, but I'm more with the times, where you want to say it, or just advancing my knowledge in this kind of aspect, especially with having daughters, because I had all brothers growing up. My mom and dad had all sons, so it's just different. So the this for that mentality is real fucking eye opener when you compare it to a boyfriend in high school or in college. And I did this, now you do this. And if that's what they're taught now when they're 5 and 6, that's what they're going to do when they're 16. So, they say don't judge another parent, don't tell a person how to parent, but probably that's some of the best advice my wife's ever given me is we don't push this because of this, because this for that mentality. So huge for me, huge for us. We don't push that at all. It's not, you want to go give him a high five. You want to, my littlest gives a little power bump. Like that's how she does at nighttime for me. She doesn't give dad a hug. Very rarely ever will my youngest hug me. Well, I don't push it. I don't start just grabbing her and hugging her and doing what I want or kissing her if she doesn't want it. Nope. Her boundary with her own father is a fist bump, and I have to explode after. She doesn't explode, only I do. Just a little. Then she goes, "Good night, Dad." And I go, "Love you." She goes, "Thanks." I go, "Okay, bye," and I'm out. That's just her thing. I don't push it. Is it hurtful? Well, sometimes. It's pretty hurtful because she doesn't really say "I love you" back. But that's not really the point of this. The point of this is you don't push things onto your children that they're not comfortable with. And I think that's a pretty important lesson, especially with having young daughters. So yeah, it's just a couple of things that's been on my mind about kids and family and responsibility and bearing the weight. And this is my attempt a little bit of being a little more open, just because I don't really talk about this instance specifically when a family member dies. Just keep that shit to myself. Deal with it behind my eyes like a man. And sometimes, like I said, it's a good tool to have. Other times, it's good to show others, hey, it's okay. I know what you're feeling. Hey, Tom's been there. I can do this too. Tom struggled. Yep, he had my Amber, my Haley at the time for my rocks at the point, and Dan Bell in some regard. And having those couple of people, that's how I operate. I got a couple, people in my corner that can see that side of me, and then I'm good. Let this shit out. Remember what I got to remember, and then roll forward. So I hope that helps you guys share. Maybe if you guys are going through a tough spot, or you come to a spot where people around you are dying, you have to be the tough one, the strong one, the strongest one at your father's funeral, that kind of mentality. And it helps you push forward, share with those you can share with. Me, I'm more of a private person about this kind of stuff. That's why I'm trying to open up a little bit here, just for my health to get me better at this kind of stuff, because my wife, it kills her because I keep so much of this stuff inside, and I don't really share it with many people. And hopefully you guys get some good parenting tips, just some stuff that I've been picking up along the way, some stuff that I've learned from podcasts and listening to other dads and fathers, and just stuff I learned from my wife that helps. We gotta, we're leading a new generation. And I feel like if you can teach your kids, like my kids are pretty emotionally smart, definitely because of my wife, not so much because of me. I'm probably one lesson ahead that they are. It's like learning the piano and you're the teacher and the student, maybe the teacher one lesson ahead. I'm one lesson ahead of these kids right now, probably. Just because they're so emotionally intelligent. So I feel like an emotionally intelligent person that also has a lot of grit. So if we can give them that combination as parents, then we're always winning. And another thing is, I'll end with this, is if you're worried you're a good parent, you're probably a good parent. Because bad parents don't sit around and worry if they're good parents or not. Only good parents worry if they're good parents. So if you're thinking about that while I've been chatting with you guys for a half hour, I wonder if I'm a good parent. I wonder if I'm doing enough. I wonder if I'm doing this. Did I do that wrong? If you're questioning things about your parenting, that makes you a good parent. So hope you guys learn from this. Hope you guys keep moving forward. Hope you guys bear more responsibility, and I hope you guys continue to be better. Appreciate you guys listening. See ya.